Welcome back to The Takeout. Thank you for hanging out with us. Stephen A. Smith, a force of nature in sports journalism. He's on ESPN, Sirius XM, and as a guest on all variety of shows, eager to tap into his opinionated fame. Perhaps inevitably has come the tug of another arena, the political one, on CBS Sunday Morning. Smith told Robert Costa he's not, emphasized not, ruling out a presidential bid in 2028.
I'm a fiscal conservative. I can't stand high taxes. But I'm a social liberal in the same breath because I believe in living and let live. I pay attention to the desolate and the disenfranchised. Yes, I like strong borders. That's absolutely true. We never needed open borders, but we don't need it to be completely closed either. We're a gorgeous mosaic.
Sounds like you're getting a stump speech ready, Stephen.
No, there's no stump speech. I can give a speech without a note in front of me.
I want to bring in our political panel, Rina Shah, Republican strategist, former senior congressional advisor, John McCarthy, Democratic strategist, former senior advisor to President Biden. All right, John, let me start with you. In an era of American politics where fame and celebrity carry a kind of cachet that they did not even 15 years ago, is Stephen A. Smith someone we should think about and factor into the possible 2028 conversation?
Yeah, I mean, I think that for both political parties here, there's a wide lane open during the nomination contest, and that's for outsiders. Every single election cycle, we keep hearing from voters telling us they don't like politicians. So whether it's him or someone else, I think that one of the widest open lanes to become the next president is probably be someone who's not serving in current office.
When you heard him say to Robert Costa he is a Democrat, did that surprise you?
It didn't. I mean, I hope everyone runs as a Democrat, right? And for the way it looks now, we're going to have 25 people on our debate stage. So, I mean, I think that that's great. I mean, I think in the way that he's been talking about this, he's been able to kind of thread an important needle that I think a lot of candidates can't do right now. And that's that he's pretty disenfranchised with both sides. Yes, he said he'd run as a Democrat, but he was also pretty critical of Trump and then was pretty critical of Vice President Harris. And you know who else is? The American people. Right. And that's where the voters are.
Rina?
So.
Yeah, I think he's a perfect candidate for anyone. I think
really?
I really do, because he knows games, right? And what bigger game is there than politics?
Politics is a game, yeah.
He's got a lot of opinions. He doesn't hide from them. He doesn't apologize. I think that's a big one, too, because, again, who's going to follow Trump that's going to look apologetic?
So he meets that nuance threshold of authenticity, which is hard to define, but people think they know it when they see it.
But one definition is that voters do not want anybody who's weak, anybody that, again, apologizes for who they are, tries to be too politically correct, and really stands out of the pack by doing things a bit differently. I think Stephen A. Smith is just that kind of person. I think he's interesting.
We teased this when we went to break, and one of the iron rules of the show, there aren't many, but one of the iron rules is if I tease it, I should bring it up later. I should really follow through. So let me follow through on Robert F. Kennedy Jr., HHS Secretary, talking to 60 Minutes, Bill Whitaker, about ultra-processed foods and American obesity. Let's listen.
How do we know what is safe to eat?
There is no way for any American to know if a product is safe if it is ultra-processed.
So this was an interesting piece because it took Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on vaccines, and David Kessler, former head of the FDA, when he was head of the FDA, brought down big tobacco in common cause with Robert F. Kennedy, not on vaccines, but on ultra-processed foods, showing that there is this relationship that can be forged that could be possibly, from a regulatory point of view and a political point of view, pretty powerful. John?
Yeah, I mean, I'm conscious that I'm saying this in front of a bowl of candy here, which I'm sure is all very organic.
Very organic. Hardly any processing there at all.
Not. But, I think every American, this is a bipartisan issue that people can agree on. They know that ultra-processed foods are not good for you. I think, if you think about affordability, I think that most Americans wish they had access to affordable whole foods. That's a real issue in lots of parts of the country. But I think where RFK starts to lose credibility is where, he starts kind of moving into this land of conspiracy theories, tying Tylenol to autism and his vaccine skepticism. So, nothing is all bad. I think that what he's saying on Americans should eat more whole foods is common sense, but we have to be very conscious of the other things that he's saying, too.
Rina, let's cut to the chase. You worked on Capitol Hill. You know that this is a very big industry. It's not just ag, it's food companies and their relationship to ag. And it's very hard to rewrite these rules. Lots of farm bills have looked into this and said, maybe not. The politics too tough.
And I don't want to be ageist here, but look at the crop of people on Capitol Hill. These aren't particularly young people. These aren't people that are more aware of their health. They probably don't have even that much life in front of them where they're that observant of what they're really putting in their body. They're kind of living for the moment because, again, they're powerful people who have access to money and funds where they can eat well if they want to, right? They're not facing the problems that most Americans are. I remember I was in college when I first heard the phrase Whole Foods, whole paycheck. And I never went to the chain for that very reason until I was out as a young professional. Even then, I had sticker shock. Where I come from, rural West Virginia, I'm particularly nervous about those communities because those communities, again, salt of the earth people that like to grow their own food. But when we're talking about all the problems here, they are multifaceted. And I don't know that one crusader can change the game. I certainly hope so, because all food's starting to taste the same out there, to be honest.
And ultra-processed foods are cheaper.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're more accessible if you live in a food desert, which is to say a community that does not have a large grocery store, but has mini marts and things like that. And you go into a mini mart, what are the shelves filled with?
Exactly, these overly
And
processed
RFK
foods.
Jr. in that interview made a commitment that we're going to get the price of whole food, not processed food, down. Well, that's a political opening if achieved or not achieved.
Major, let me be real clear with you, though, about this. I think this is important. I've gone to a MAHA roundtable, and I've sat there with many people in the room that were saying very normal things. A lot of these were mothers who have young children like mine. I have 3 small children, and they are women who are frustrated. They want to look at food as medicine. Now, I'm the daughter of a doctor, wife of 1, and sister of 2. So I look at food that way from when I was a little girl. But I am concerned that the MAHA movement cannot make the strides and impact it wants to have as long as the vaccine stuff continues to hold. And so I'm hopeful that something will change, because this is a very timely argument.
That is a great and meaningful perspective. Rina Shah, thank you very much. John McCarthy, you always have meaningful and valuable perspectives as well, but she was on the button right there. I appreciate it.